dear friend and colleague of mine, Sally Gallot-Reeves. And I want to talk a little bit just about Sally and how special she is in my life. And then I'm going to turn the floor over to her and let her share a little bit about herself and just, what the inspiration around this new book is. So I've known Sally. We were talking about this a few days ago, and I have known Sally, I think, now for over, gosh, 12, 13 years. And she is such a dear person in my life. I consider her a friend. She's a client, a colleague, a mentor, um, someone that I've definitely walked the spiritual path with before. And so I am just so delighted tonight to have this moment with her and to share her with all of you. And would love to hear from you all in the chat, just what brought you here, if you are familiar with Soul Garden Pathway, because that was Sally's original book. And in this series, she has several other series out there, but that was the original in this series. And so would just love to hear from you all. And if you know Sally, if you've read her works, or just anything about your interest tonight. The other thing I want to say is this is a very open conversation with Sally and I, and also with you all. So if you have questions, please put them in the group. We will definitely take time to answer any of the questions that don't get answered during our conversation. So feel free to pop those into the chat box for us. And also, again, welcome. We're just so glad that you're here with us tonight. So, again, it's my pleasure to introduce Sally Gallot-Reeves. Sally has been what she refers to herself as a spiritual gardener and a life path coach. And her life's work has really been devoted to helping others. She has a prior background as a nurse and also is just really shifted her focus on her writing and sharing and walking this spiritual journey over the last several years. And so, again, her words carry such a beautiful depth within them. The Soul Garden pathway has meant so much to me personally, and many of my clients, students, community members have gone through the Soul Garden pathway. I've been through it about 3 or 4 times now in different areas of my life and teaching. So, again, every time you go through it, it's a deepening of the work. And so tonight we just want to again celebrate and just really honor Sally and the release of this new book. So Sally and I are going to have some conversation. Sally is so generous and is giving away three signed autographed copies of the Soul Garden Within tonight. So we'll be doing some drawing throughout the hour. And also at the end, I'm going to do a special book blessing for the Soul Garden Within. So please stay around with us to the end. And without further ado, I give you Sally Gallot-Reeves. Let me have you unmute, sweetheart.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Welcome. There you are.
This is so very special for me because you're all here. I know, I think all of you, either through email or the Holistic Institute or my neighbors. This is like so family oriented. It's so close. It feels like love. And I am knowing that not only the book, myself, but all of you also very blessed. And it's just an honor to be able to talk about the book. Um, the book. Well, uh, the Soul Garden Pathway Discovery Guide came first. I don't know why it came first, but it did. It's kind of like when you have children and you go, why is this one the oldest and why is this one the youngest? Because really, maybe it should have been different. The Soul Garden Pathway Discovery Guide was my attempt to take things I had collected and make an order and sense out of them, knowing where I was in my life. And for those of us who have read the book and talk about divine order and divine timing, that was absolutely the initial piece of divine order and timing for me. When I wrote that, I understood it. Also, it was written probably 4 or 5 years before it was published. Um, I started writing the children's middle grade books, and many of you know that I then also unfortunately started having back surgeries, multiple back surgeries. The Soul Garden Discovery Guide was sitting there. It would speak to me. I would pray about it. I would get information and messages that it wasn't ready yet. Wasn't ready yet. I published it in 2020, 19, 20, something like that. It's kind of a blur. Um, and then have just had such fantastic feedback because people not only are embracing it, they're using it. Um, the classes are using it. The holistic businesses are using it. Um, um, a friend of mine and her mother are doing it together. Um, I have another friend whose book club is using it. And that's really, I think, the purpose is to be able to not only determine your own thoughts and feelings, but then share it with others. And through that sharing, we really begin to know that we're all one. We're all on different journeys, but we're all one people. And we are all divine beings, all of us.
Yeah, beautiful, Sally. Can you tell us a little bit about what the inspiration is around and behind the Soul Garden Within? What inspired you to take this next step in the journey?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's a leap. I took the next leap.
I love that. We
I
talk a
took
lot
the
about that in our work and programs. So, yes, totally understand that.
I took the next leap because it wouldn't rest. It wouldn't let me forget it. And as I continued to write and journal, especially journal, um, there were things that were very apparent to me that belonged in that book.
Hmm.
And I did know from people who had um, bought the first book that it was very time consuming. Journaling was very time consuming, and it's not for everybody. It wasn't their thing.
But it
So,
works so well,
but
right?
I did collect a lot of my journals messages, did more research, um, and started to think about combining personal experiences in the book. And I have to tell you, that took a great deal of courage on my part. That was
Yeah.
not what I intended. I was not going to do that. I started working with a friend who became a great friend, but someone through uh, an editing company I'd worked with before. And her job was to create this second book, combining everything, combining the discovery guide, combining my journal. You know how personal your journals are. So when I talk about a leap, okay,
Yeah.
big,
Beautiful.
big, big, big. A lot
Yes.
of trust. It's when you really start thinking about trust issues.
Right. Right.
And
Is there a reason that you felt now is the time for the release of The Soul Garden Within? Was there something that inspired that for you to bring it forth now during this time?
I believe certainly the expertise of the person who worked with me in the writing part of it was very much supportive of
Mm-hmm.
getting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe in my heart that um, I am absolutely on a healing pathway. I am no longer going to be experiencing these spinal bone issues that I've been experiencing, that I am now really able to move forward in delivering the intent of the book
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to get around to do that. Zoom is wonderful, but there are other places to be and be part of,
Right.
socially or whatever.
Yes.
Um, but
Was
still, there was just this nagging voice. It's that nagging voice that says you're not done yet.
right. Right. That nagging voice that keeps us moving forward, right?
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
Is there a particular section or chapter that, sticks out to you that you found more meaningful or just
Mm.
really sang true in your heart in this book?
When I was writing the chapter about the spiritual principles and laws,
Mm-hmm.
my eyes were opened.
Mm-hmm.
The physical ones, probably because you know, physically rooted, we're all pretty familiar with those. But when I got into the real spiritual meaning behind those, it really made me think about experiences in my life and how they have propelled me forward. In the book, we talk about growth and experience and expansion and how those three things work together so that you can then absolutely go to a next level, or in the garden to the next blossom, or leaves, stems, all of that.
Right.
And when I looked back at things, I could see how my own growth um, had matured me,
Mm-hmm.
had made me more truthful, had made me much more aware of the needs of others. And that really pertained to my nursing career,
Yeah.
to the point where I really did become a very strong patient advocate,
Mm-hmm.
um, and was willing to um, put my patients first.
Right.
Um, and that and their well-being. Um, so there are examples in the book that talk about that a lot.
Right.
Um,
And is there a core message, Sally? Like, for example, if the readers were to walk away with one just kind of core message, is there anything that you feel
mm,
that we might take away from it?
I I hope everyone comes away knowing how blessed they are in the world,
Mm.
that this is not unique to me.
Mm-hmm.
This is a blessing for all of us. And it doesn't matter, you know, if you write books or whatever you're doing. If you're doing it with love, you are doing it in the way that is intended.
Right.
And that is the part that I hope the book promotes too, that, you know, with that love for people, for animals, for gardens, for whatever, for life itself,
Mm-hmm.
that we are um, totally blessed to be on earth.
Right.
And every day, you know, is a new day especially when you haven't had a good day.
Right.
And you go to the next day and it's a new day and it's a new slate. It's a new way of beginning again. Every
Yeah.
day is a new beginning.
Yes, and I know, of course, you and I have the honor and the pleasure to connect monthly deeper in conversation, and I
Mhm,
know your journey over the last 7 years, several years has not been the easiest for
mhm,
you physically, and so you've always been and still are such an inspiration to me to remember that just what you said, every day is a gift,
mhm,
and we
mhm.
have an opportunity to choose and create the day we want to be living in the moment.
Yes,
And I
yes.
think for me, that's one of the central themes that comes through in all of your work, right?
Mhm,
And how our thoughts, our words, our actions really shape and form our reality.
mhm,
So, if if you were to speak to us, there's so many out there right now that just feel so, people are feeling disconnected, they're feeling overwhelmed. They are searching for deeper meaning. Is there
mhm.
any words of wisdom or guidance that you would want to share to anyone that might be listening later and here tonight?
This is something I've told my kids since they were little. I believe it's true for all of us. Um, Everything you need is right inside you. And so when we search for things and we search in the extremities of our sphere, I'll call
Mm-hmm.
it,
Mm-hmm.
we are very far away from our personal truth, our personal well-being. We're
Mm-hmm.
very far away from being in touch with our own bodies, our
Mm-hmm.
own physical self. I had to learn that myself. That's been an interesting little path.
Right.
Um, Grew some interesting flowers along that piece. Um, but it is that thing where everything you need is really inside you. And what you need to do is learn how to listen and learn how to explore and to be able to create the world that you want, create your world the way that you want it to be.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you, Sally. That's
you're
beautiful.
welcome.
So I'm going to pause just for a moment. And so did this really old school, ladies. We want to give away some complimentary copies tonight. And so very old school. I have your names here in a little bucket. So I'm just going to pull and see who our first winner is. I know there's all these fancy ways of doing things, but I was like, we'll just do it old school tonight. So let's see who our first recipient is. Marissa. Awesome. Great. So, Marissa, you will be receiving a signed copy of The Soul Garden Within from Miss Sally. And I will, with your permission, Marissa, I will share your address with Sally later so she can get that out. So, congratulations. That's wonderful. Awesome. Yes, Marie, you have a question. We can take it. No, you don't have a question. Okay. It's all good. I
She's
can't
on mute.
I can't hear you, Marie. You're on mute. So, um,
Okay,
There
I'm
you go.
sorry about that. I
that's
really
okay.
didn't have a question. I was trying to just put a little heart up there and I hit the hand instead. So, but it's a nice opportunity for me to just say hi, Sally, and it's so good to hear
Hi.
about this new book, and I can't wait to read it because I have not read it yet. So,
Yeah.
I miss you.
yeah, I miss you too.
Awesome. Thanks, Marie. All right, Sally. So, continuing on with a little bit of conversation here, how would you describe like your what spiritual consciousness means to you, like in your everyday life, your everyday walk? Because knowing you again, like I've had the privilege of knowing, the last several years have called you to have a lot of faith and to have a lot of trust.
Mhm.
And I know that you walk that path every day. And I'm just curious, like, What does that mean for you in your everyday life? How do you keep things moving and growing in your garden?
Well, I mean, consciousness about anything is awareness. It's about what we choose to um, see.
Mm-hmm.
It's about what we choose to hear or listen to. And I think that spiritually, we are surrounded in a very beautiful way by all kinds of things that give us purpose, give
Mm-hmm.
us meaning, give us enlightenment,
Mm-hmm.
if we are open to that flow of energy that will come forward. So in consciousness, number one, we are open to those messages.
Correct.
In consciousness, we are not, in consciousness, we are able to hear what is speaking to us from within, from without, and we are non-judgmental, we are accepting, and we are saying, how is this to my benefit? What is it that I need to take away that I know that I am being secured in a good way, and I know that I am being promoted to keep growing.
Yes.
So as I've had these very difficult times of um, uh, paralysis, leg paralysis, um, repeated spinal compression fractures, um, the the last one being an injury, a very severe injury to my spinal cord. I really became silent. I really became not in necessarily a depressive way, in
Mm-hmm.
a way that I said, you need to stop and just listen.
Yeah.
It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. But
Right.
this is not speed. This is not speedy.
Right.
This, this is about being who you are at the present time.
Yeah. I love
And
that.
I will also say, although it was difficult to also accept this, in these eight years, well, 2018 was the first one. So in these 8 years, I've written books. I mean, what are you going to do when you really can't you can't walk? I mean,
Right.
you know, um, well, I wasn't obviously going to be a nurse anymore.
Right.
Couldn't do that, couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And I really enhanced the writing I had done previously. My first book of poetry was 2014. And I said, well, I can write. I took my journals more seriously. I took this book more seriously. And again, in this book, by relaying my personal stories, some of which are very dear to me,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was also able to see a greater meaning in them,
Yes.
um, and how they um, changed my life and solidified my life in going through those things, you know.
Yeah. 100%. And I think, Sally, your life is, again, it's such a testament because you had such this big, I mean, really a very, amazing career in nursing,
Mhm.
right? And you did retire from nursing, and instead of, you know, stopping, you decided or opened up to what the next level the universe was calling you to do, right?
I did.
Which is where I think a lot of your writing really birthed from. Do you want to say
Yes.
just a little more about that? Because so many times I know in the work that I do, there's I think people feel like once they reach a certain time or maybe age or whatever, time, life, everything's complete, but it really isn't. I
No.
think you're a living testament that if we stay open to spirit, if we stay open to our divine path, we can continue to grow and expand. And again, I mean, your story, your life is so inspirational because during those times that you were in such severe pain, you could have easily just laid down and stopped doing it, but you just kept going. What kept you moving?
Well, I did lay down. So,
But you got back up.
but I did get back up. But frequently I laid down. Yes. Um, I knew my life wasn't over. Maybe
Mhm.
that's the biggest um point of clarity
Mhm.
is except for the physical limitations,
Mhm.
I knew my life wasn't over. And
Right.
my ability to still learn and grow and be something
Mhm.
to others
Right.
was still out there for me. Um, and I had to find it. That was my responsibility to find it. Um, and as a writer, it's always interesting because you write a lot of bad stuff. Bad meaning it's not good. You don't like
Right.
it, you
Right.
know. But
Right.
you write notebooks full of bad stuff
Yes.
until you write a good stuff.
Yes.
And then you realize that within all the bad stuff, there's all these little increments of things that can be pulled forward to create again something very meaningful.
Right.
Um, so the life of an author, and sometimes I still can't believe I use that word, but the life of an author is not an easy road.
Right.
And you always doubt yourself.
Sure.
And then being able to share things that are personal for all of us is very hard. But when I hear back from people how meaningful it was to them, I realize it wasn't mine to keep.
Right.
It it wasn't mine to hold on to. It
Yeah.
was actually a gift that I was meant to share.
Yeah.
And to have the courage to do that um, was another gift to me.
Mhm.
It came at the right time.
Well, and I think that is, having the courage, like you said, having the courage, going through the experience is one thing. Having the courage to share the experience is
Hmm.
another, right?
Yes, yes,
And again, you've just led by example, really, and and continued on your path, continued opening up to that. And I love what you said about, you write a lot of bad stuff, but in the bad stuff, there's nuggets of gold, there's nuggets of wisdom, right? And so,
yeah,
and I think that's a lot kind of about our lives sometimes. Sometimes in life, we write a lot of bad stuff, but
yeah,
there's wisdom and nuggets of gold in all of that, in all of our experience. And so I
yeah,
think if we can remain in a state of gratitude, as you said, and just keep looking for that next level of ourselves, if you will,
hmm,
and just staying open to, God, source, universe, and what that next is for us, then that will lead us where we're supposed to be
yeah.
ultimately.
And part of that too is understanding that change is a normal part of life.
Yes.
That
Yes.
we have moments in our life that we're extremely happy, that everything's going well, and the whole, the music's playing, the stars are out, and it's a glorious time. And
Right.
that is a beautiful moment. But moments last one moment. And
Right.
we're all meant to change. And as we change, we grow and experience. And it is not always a great day,
Right.
but there will be another great day.
Yes.
And in that new great day, you're not the same person that you were before.
Yeah.
So how you interpret it, how you handle it, how you are able to then move forward is going to be different on that new day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it. All right. Well, we're going to take another pause. I'm going to do another book drawing. And for those of you that joined in later, thank you for joining us. It's great to have you here. So let's see who our next winner is. Marie Longo. Congratulations, Marie. That's awesome.
I have her address.
Okay, great. I figured you might. That's awesome. Congratulations. So Sally, are there any ways that you would maybe suggest for us to, if we are feeling disconnected or if
Mm.
we are doubting maybe our purpose or our just reason for being here, is there any words of wisdom that you might share um, for us tonight that you've, obviously written about in both of your books? If there's any nuggets of wisdom you want to share that would help us.
I think the books are like foundations, you know, they're building blocks, and they're 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 there for you as you are are building your life
Mm-hmm.
to understand things a little bit differently,
Right.
um, to understand how things work, by the laws of the universe and the spiritual laws, how things come together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in the direction of understanding where we're at any particular time, I would just say when you are feeling disconnected, honor that, write about it, call your sister, call your friends, call somebody you trust, take a walk. And as you're walking, there's a mantra that I use that is, uh, relax, breathe, um, listen, and you just keep saying it over and over again. And very often you then get little messages that come through. And it can be as simple as there's a bird singing, but the beauty of that bird singing is a message to you to say, this is a good day. It's a
Mm-hmm.
really good day.
Yeah.
But I think we need to acknowledge the negative days, the days when we are not feeling connected to ourselves, when it doesn't feel right,
Right.
when we are unable to do the things we took for granted.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the amount of humility I have gained over these years by having to ask for help to go to the bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
by having to ask for help to walk,
Mm-hmm.
to eat sometimes. With the spinal cord injury, I still have hand deficits
Mm-hmm.
um, in my right hand. Um, but in all of that, I know that I am still healing.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it's a very slow healing, I know that I'm healing. And so time, all get caught up in time. It's a very human thing. If you don't have your
Indeed.
phone, if you don't have your watch, if you're not, you know, what time is it? Is it time to eat? What time is it? We're
Right.
like time beings.
Yes.
Spiritually, there's no time.
Right.
In the spiritual world, there is no time. And so when I become conscious of that, my expectations which are one of the things that have been a real difficult thing for me to recognize and try to get past. But my expectations were probably my biggest challenge
Right.
because I had expectations that were not realistic, but it was what I wanted. So I would say to all of you that when you are feeling disconnected, think about your expectations for yourself for that day. Be kind to yourself. Be aware that what you feel is very legitimate and what you feel is a moment in time and that will change again and it will become better.
Yeah.
And it is always evolving. Our lives are evolving. Our spiritualness is always evolving. The more you talk about it, the more beautiful friends come into your life
Mm-hmm.
who talk about it, who also write very beautiful things. Becky Brew, who who are just blessings to your life.
Yeah.
They're very important in your life. And I don't know where I would be without them, without all of you here today.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Sally.
Mhm.
So I know that your faith and your trust have played a huge role in your journey. And I also know that is woven throughout both of your books.
Mhm.
And you do talk a lot about the human journey, the human experience, and also, you know, essentially being spiritual beings on a human journey. Can you share a little bit just about your own faith and trust that you have held on to as you've gone through your journey? I know many of us on the call have been through all sorts of
Mhm.
trying times and experiences, and just curious how that has been for you.
Um, well, like many of you, or all of us, um, you've got to get through the whole kid thing and the whole teenage thing and the whole, after high school thing when you're really not sure who you are or what you want. Um, there are a few people who were, and I consider them very fortunate, but I was not. Um, and so I learned by making mistakes, and by trying again, um, and by pursuing what I thought were good options at the time,
Mm-hmm.
but by also recognizing that when they didn't turn out to be good options, to say, this isn't a good option. This isn't where I belong.
Yeah.
And then to feel that I could move in a direction. And that's really important. It's not that you're moving to your end point. You're moving in a direction that is offering you something closer to where you think you belong,
Mm-hmm.
something that is more suited to you, to your beliefs, to your personality, to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so we had that whole area, the whole thing
Mm-hmm.
up until, through the 20s. There I was. But I did get a nursing degree. Well, I got a degree in child behavior and psychology. And and then I got a degree in nursing
Mm-hmm.
because not that I not that I wanted to be a nurse because I was afraid of blood. So I didn't want to be a nurse. But I got married in college, which, whatever. That was in the 20s. That was one of my mistakes in the 20s. Um, but I thought, oh, look, here's a great idea. I can go to work in a hospital and I can work with children with a degree in psychology and help them and do something. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I thought I could do something. So that was a good idea, except in order to do that, of course, this is 1970. In order to do that, I was going to have to go to Boston because that was the only place that was offering those types of jobs. So I couldn't do that. My husband was working in Maine. So I said, okay, I'll be a nurse. Okay. So I went to nursing school. So what I found in that was that it was exactly where I belonged. Um, I began looking at blood as just like Kool-Aid, just like any other fluid, didn't matter. I didn't think of it as my problem with blood is that it's so personal to someone's inner core
Mm-hmm.
that when I was seeing blood, I was seeing their inner core come out. And that's why I was having trouble with it. So then I went the Kool-Aid route and the try and change your mind kind of a thing.
Right.
I was so absorbed in nursing and not only taking care of people, but knowing how to take care of people.
Mm-hmm.
And most of what people needed, aside from, your basic sort of comfort and cleanliness and that kind of thing, they just needed to be listened to. That's all they wanted. They wanted to tell you their story
Right.
and they wanted you to sit with them if you could. And
Mm-hmm.
I did a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard so many beautiful, beautiful stories. Um, one woman, I don't think I put this in the book. One woman, when I was in the intensive care unit in the Philadelphia area, um, actually told me that she's very insistent that she had something she had to tell me. Um, that she had fled Germany in World War II and took her children to England,
Mm-hmm.
um, and married in England. And her sons did not know that the man she married was not their father.
Mm.
And I'm listening to this going, okay, okay, okay. And then she just said, I don't feel well. You have to tell them. And she died.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I mean, we responded to her and did medically what we could do and everything, but she died.
Yeah.
And our sons came and they were probably in their 30, 40-ish range.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to relate to them everything she had told me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was amazing because I remembered every detail of everything she told me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was finished with them and the sons and they stayed with her for a while and then they left, I couldn't remember a thing. I
Wow.
could only remember this basic stuff that I just told you. That's all I could remember.
Yeah.
So you know what? I was supposed to be there. I've had so many times when it is apparent to me I was supposed to be there at that particular time.
Right.
Um, but they want to tell you their stories and
Yeah.
they want you to just accept whatever they have to tell you. So nursing was a big part of my life.
Right.
And I didn't start having children until I was in my 30s.
Yeah.
Um, and we all know that's, another journey.
Yeah. So you've really been a messenger of the divine for quite some time, just in different modalities,
I think
right?
so.
Yeah.
I do think so. And I was also willing, if talking with friends or other nurses or something, if people asked, I was willing to tell them what I thought, what
Mm-hmm.
I believed in.
Sure.
And, I'm sure that I said to people I was supposed to be here, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. Love it. All right. Thank you for sharing that with us. So, we're going to pick one more book for the night. So, let me shake up my little cup over here, move things around. All right. Shelby Shanklin. Awesome. Congratulations. Congratulations. Okay, awesome. So I think what we'll do now, Sally, is just, oh, and Deb has her hand raised. Perfect timing. We'll take a few minutes and take a couple of questions from our audience. And then I would love to do a blessing for the soul garden
Mhm.
within
Mhm.
and send everyone on their way. So, Deb, yes, you had a question.
Yes, Sally, I was curious when you said, you write a lot of bad and then there's good in there. Did, did you decide what was good, or were there messages that you got, or did other people decide what was good?
Well, I don't show anybody what I think is really bad.
Okay.
So by the time that I've compiled things and I'm either sharing it with an editor, or in this case there were two people, Becky, who's on this call, and another woman by the name of Bessie, who was my coach, I'll call it, in combining the pathway with this new book. Um, they got the really polished, much more polished version. What Bessie did for me, which I will be always thankful for, is as she read my new book. So I took excerpts from the pathway and then expanded them and started to um, write it more as a novel, not with the intention of a journal. But what she did for me is she said, I need to hear more about this. Is there something else behind this? And I would go, well, I don't know if I want to tell you that. And she said, well, no, you could tell me. Why don't you think about that? And then I would write something and she would go, this is really good. But I think there's something more behind it. And by my goodness, with her encouragement, which is really what it was, you just you just wrote it, you know? And when it's on paper, it is not as bad as when it's in your head. That is the truth. The part that you keep in your head is judgmental. It's sometimes incomplete because you don't want to tell the whole rest of the story, even to yourself. Um, and by writing it and having someone objectively just look at the material, it really helped me to realize that every experience I had was supposed to be meaningful in my life. And indeed, I really believe that it led one stepping stone to the next.
Okay, thanks.
Beautiful. Great question, Deb. Thank you, Sally. Does anybody else have a question or a comment they would like to share with Sally on either just the excitement around Soul Garden Within, or if there's anything you want to share about the Soul Garden pathway? I know several of you have utilized that.
I would love to chime in. Hi, Sally.
Absolutely, Becky.
Oh, it's such a blessing to be here. So, just a comment and just listening to you speak and seeing all of these lovely souls here, I'm like, what a gift you are. What a gift you are. And
Mm.
I don't know if you know this, Sally, but I will not tell you guys the whole long story how she and I came into each other's lives, but it was divine,
It
as
was.
probably for all of us is kind of how it always works, right? And I was on the cusp of deciding not to write the book that has been in my soul forever. And Sally's name and project came into my world, and she and I spoke the same language immediately. And I've gotten to watch her process and also get to know her at a soul level in the most beautiful way. And um, our work is inextricably linked and so beautiful. And Sally, I just want to say I'm so grateful for you and your work and just your model of continuing to put one foot in front of the other, even without being able to put one foot in front of the other for a period. Um, and just giving us all permission to keep seeking and keep searching and keep connecting within and keep seeking the light and keep being love. And I just love you. And I'm so grateful for you. I could keep talking, but I won't. So thank
Thank you, Becky.
you.
Appreciate that. It's a beautiful share. Awesome. Anybody else? I think we've got time for maybe one more comment or question if anybody has anything they'd like to share. Okay. All right. So I'd love to take a few minutes and bless this beautiful book out into the world. And so I'm going to have you all just join with me. And Sally, I am going to essentially infuse this beautiful book with so much love and energy and just intend that it ripples out into every single copy with this blessing. And, I echo a lot of Becky's sentiments. You are just such a inspiration and just such a dear, dear person, not only in my life, but in this world. And I know that this world is brighter because of you. And I want to thank you for continuing and having the courage, um, as Becky said, just putting that one foot in front of the other, even when it felt really, really impossible. You're truly an inspiration. So thank you for that. So if you all will take a moment and just join me in this, I would love for you just to visualize the book. If you could hold the book in your mind's eye as we go through this blessing, we want to bless this together. Um, we just want to put our collective energy on this book, that it get out into the world, that it touch lives, that it make an impact for those that are meant to read the pages. So if everybody can just hold the book in their mind's eye as we go through this. So, blessing for the soul garden within as we gather together in celebration of the soul garden within. We pause with gratitude for the wisdom, the love, and the light woven throughout these pages. May this book serve as a gentle guide for all who encounter it, awakening deeper awareness, nurturing spiritual growth, and reminding each soul of the beauty that already lives within them. May these teachings offer comfort to the weary, clarity to the seeking, peace to the overwhelmed, and inspiration to those ready to step more fully into their authentic path and authentic selves. We bless the hands, heart, and spirit that brought this work into being. May Sally's words continue to ripple outward with purpose, healing, and grace, touching lives in ways seen and unseen. May every reader feel more connected to themselves, to spirit, to one another, and to the sacred unfolding of their own journey. And may the soul garden within continue to plant seeds of consciousness, compassion, healing, and transformation throughout the world. With love, gratitude, and intention, we welcome this beautiful work into the hearts and lives of many. And so it is. Okay. So, Sally, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Ladies, thank you so much for being with us tonight and just coming in and supporting Sally on this beautiful journey. Sally, is there any parting words you would like to share with us as we complete our evening together?
Well, we may be parting in this Zoom meeting, but I really feel that we are all connected and we are not parting each other. So, um, in the in my website which is just sallygallotreeves.com, you can always reach me. My email address is on there. Um, I connect with many of you anyway. Thank you for not only being here, but the encouragement that you have given me tonight. Because as I've been speaking with Carolyn, with Becky at various times, I don't know if I'm going to write another uh, nonfiction book. Um, but I'm hearing that maybe I should. Maybe I need to start thinking about that and listen to what comes forward. So thank you. That's a beautiful gift to me.
Beautiful. And Sally, can you tell the listeners how they may purchase your books?
Well, it's on the usual Amazon, Barnes and Noble
Okay,
websites.
wonderful.
It's on on a place called Thrift Books, which that was a surprise to me, but
Okay.
that came across. I think it possibly if you don't want to purchase from the big bookstores, if you just put the title of the book in, you probably would find a link to be able to buy it from somewhere. And of course, for the three people that were pulled tonight, you don't have to buy it at all because it's coming to you.
I love it. And also, Sally, just real quickly before we close, you on your website, soulgardenpathway.com, I believe, right?
Well,
Um,
there's the author website, which is sallygallotreeves.com. And
okay.
then the soulgardenpathway.com has a blessing for the day that goes out to everybody, has various concepts on it, that kind of thing. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. Is there a way that if they wanted to, that they could sign up for your blessings that you send out? Because I know for me personally, those are always such a delight to read and usually hit my inbox at the perfect timing for inspiration.
Uh, the soulgardenpathway.com is where you can sign up for a blessing for the day.
Okay.
On sallygallotreeves.com, you can sign up for a newsletter. And usually anything that's posted related to the Soul Garden, I'll also put on the Sally Gallot-Reeves website.
Okay.
There's a mailing list that we try and get everything out to everybody because some people are on one or the other, but they want both. And so we
Okay.
just try and accommodate that.
Okay. Beautiful. Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you, all of you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Beautiful evening. Thank you for being here. Thank you again for coming out and supporting Sally during this time and the launch of the Soul Garden Within.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful evening.
All right. Good night.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye
Nice to hear
bye.
from you, Sally. And this was a great call. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.